Hello and welcome back to Scholastically Natalie, where this video, I almost said episode, is powered by strawberry Moscato, and a lot of water because I'm very thirsty today. Sorry again for not uploading on Friday. I did try to pre-record a video, but then, oh my goodness, this past weekend has been so busy, guys. My sister's wedding was on Saturday. I had to go home on Thursday so that I could, no, not Thursday, on Friday to go to the rehearsal dinner. Oh my goodness, it was a lot. But the wedding was really nice and beautiful, even though it was outside, so I sweated a lot. But it was very nice, and I had a lot of fun. Although being a bridesmaid is just very tiring. The biggest irony is that, because I'm one of the palest humans in existence, when we went outside to take pictures, everybody was like, oh, ha 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 ha, you might get sunburnt. I actually did. I got sunburnt. My back hurts. Actually, my back's just really itchy. I think it's probably starting to peel, but oh my goodness, I'm so sunburned. It's ridiculous. But yeah, for context, my primer shade for makeup is Moonbeam, and basically if I want to buy things, I just pick the lightest shade possible. Anyways, I hope you all had an equally fun but hopefully less tiring weekend. I was so dead on Sunday that I could barely move. My sister was like, oh no, we need groceries. Can you buy groceries for us? And I was like, we're doing curbside pickup. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to live. So yeah, I've basically been in recovery for the past 2 days, trying to get my feet to like me again. And now they do, because I did go grocery shopping. So today I figured we could look into try to work with more of my Munhael writing. If we are just not getting any juice flowing for that, we'll switch over to a journal prompt, or maybe we'll try some Unrelenting Dawn, just to see how it goes. Sorry, I know I've been very bad at super planned videos, but I'm always not sure if I'm going to be able to actually write anything, because I have been very, very uninspired. Okay, so let's see. Okay. On the day that everything changed, only a few months after Munhael turned 219, she was looking for Regina to give her a letter and asked to borrow a few hair clips. None of the more expensive ones, but those done in a soft robin's egg blue bone that was just the right strength to hold her hair without damaging it. Regina preferred the gem-encrusted ones, or those made of metal, but Munhael just couldn't give up the smooth comfort that the bone provided. Sometimes, after wearing it long enough, it gave off a warmth that nothing else could quite mimic. The letter she held was one that Regina's suitor had given to her. She received it from a servant who manned the post box. The servants had, thinking Munhael couldn't hear, often complained of Regina's cruelty, of her ruthlessness, something Munhael just couldn't align with her sweet but stern older sister. She knocked and entered the elder's dressing room, a room that was painted a clear white. Tapestries in white and gold thread hung on every wall. The dressing table she was looking for was pushed in the corner, away from where it usually sat against the far wall. Had the servants rearranged the room again? The plush bearskin rug felt warm under her feet, a nice change from the cool tile of the halls. The stool that belonged with the table still sat in its usual place. Munhael needed to talk to whoever was rearranging this setup. Didn't really make sense. She reached down and began to pick up the stool. She might as well finish whatever the servant started, no need to have them scolded for leaving a job partially done. As she picked up the stool, however, her fingers traced an indent along the bottom, not unlike the catch to open the top of a music box, one that she would have to wedge her fingernail under to open. This was something for Regina. But was it to store secrets or to hurt her? She flipped the stool over, hearing the faintest shift from the contents of the stool, and ran her fingers over the bottom of the seat. There it was. She felt the smallest groove under her index finger. Munhael studied her bit into the quick nails, and with a small shrug, grew them to a length that she could pry off the seal with. The piece of wood, a little larger than the span of her hand, popped from its flush seating, soundlessly falling onto the rug. Within the seat of the stool were stored about 10 hair clips. She pulled one out, trying to see what could make these so important to hide. Holding it up to the window, she stared and stared. An albino peacock feather stared back. Okay, so next we need shock and horror, which I'm so bad at writing both of those. We'll try. But this was... Why would Regina need clips with her own feathers on them? Was she going bald? Had her quills been damaged? Or said a sneaky little voice, in the back of her head, not on the beach. Had she never grown peacock feathers at all? Was Regina just pretending? To be... I don't know how we're gonna do that. Was Regina... Regina's story was well known. She was a late bloomer in a noble family. A family like all of the elves who lived on the Peacock's land. Kept the same birds on their grounds. And at the late age of 13, Regina finally grew her feathers. She had the white hair and red eyes of an albino, already setting her apart from all the other nobles. But they couldn't be sure whether it was a good or bad thing. Then, her glorious white peacock feathers grew, and it was obvious she had been blessed, marked to be the next to rule the country. It wasn't as great a sign of favor as fully colored peacock feathers, but it was enough to put her in the palace and eventually put her in charge. Okay. We can delete this sentence because we basically repeated. Her family, like all of the elves who lived on the Peacock's land, kept the same birds on their grounds, and at the late age of 13, Regina finally grew her feathers. Let's see. We're gonna put that there. Then we're going to put Regina's name here, because that makes more sense. If an albino already was a good or bad thing. Public opinion and a gossip swung from one to the other each year. Then we're going to change that to finally. We need one. At the late age of 13, she finally grew her feathers. Glorious white peacock feathers. There we go, that makes a late bloomer, a noble with a yard full of peacocks. With so many, it would be very easy to hide one plucked bird. A plucked albino peacock whose feathers Munhael was holding now. She brushed her fingers through the fine fibers, twisting them slightly to compare them to her own. Munhael knew peacocks. Plenty roamed through the palace at will, and they were the first animal she had turned into. And this feather she held was not from an elf. It was from a peacock. The subtle differences were obvious were obvious to one that had spent so much time with the birds. And who should bear the exact same feathers as Regina. But these clips bore the tight and water-resistant weave of a flying, swimming bird, rather than the decorative evolution of the elves. Regina was a fake, a pretender. She hadn't been blessed or marked by the peacock at all. Why hadn't their god intervened? Was Regina somehow worthy nonetheless? Did the great bird not care? And what should Munhael do? Regina had been an elder sister to her for the past 100 years. She had loved her and taught her, supported her. And now, Munhael knew the secret that could get her killed. If Regina was a pretender, then she had committed treason. And the court would see her punished appropriately. I don't even know where to go after this. Munhael sat in silence. Unable to tear her eyes from the fragile clip in her hand. Faintly, from the end of the corridor, she heard footsteps. Footsteps in distinctive high-heeled boots that only one person in the castle wore. With frantic movements, she shoved clip back into the storage compartment. Clicked the lid back in place and flipped the stool upright, sitting on it quickly. Not a moment too soon, as Regina's smiling face appeared in the doorway. Her hair was secured in a tasteful braid that ran around the top of her head, like a crown made of ice. Her feathers sticking out of the braid into the air. What are these spikes on a crown called? Okay, but I want to know what the spikes are called. Okay, let's see. It's employed in heraldry. Well, that's not helpful. Concept of the crown. No, I don't want to know. I don't want to know about our disease. Like perfect radials that glittered, sparkled with glitter that had been dusted over her entire being to have her shimmer ethereally in the light. Her smile widened. Munhael. How odd to see you so early in the day. I have a letter for you from your mysterious suitor. It arrived today. I thought maybe you'd want to see it. Munhael smirked back. waving the neatly folded envelope in front of her. Regina gasped, springing forward to rip it from her hands. You're forgiven. It must have been magicked to get here so quickly. Regina said, already beginning. I knew you would do this to me. To rip open the envelope with her meticulously painted nails. Are you ever going to tell me anything about this suitor except that they're across the ocean? Which I still don't believe you about. By the way, Munhael sighed, standing from the stool. She clasped her shaking hands behind her back as she made for the door. Would I lie to you? Regina whined, already moving to sit in the cozy chair in the corner. Munhael paused as she headed out the door. Turning to look one last time at her sister. Undoubtedly. I honestly think that's all I have for me today. I organized Regina's backstory a bit more. I really need to come up with a better name for her than Regina. Oh my goodness. I hope you enjoyed this bit of it. This writing in this is definitely kind of rough. I'm definitely getting back into the swing of things with this. I don't like a lot of my writing in this. I will definitely need to go back and edit it a ton. But thank you for bearing with me as I just kind of puke all my thoughts onto the page with no semblance of order. And I look forward to coming back through and editing it to be a bit more palatable. Let me know if you have anything you're looking forward to this coming week. I have sold a table on Facebook Marketplace, so I'm gonna go deliver that to a human on Friday, which I'm looking forward to just getting it out of my apartment. And I have ordered a vacuum sweeper from Amazon so that I can finally vacuum things properly, because I currently just have this really old stick vacuum from like my dorm that doesn't pull up anything off of carpet. Which, I mean, like, it worked in a dorm because the carpet was basically felt over top of concrete, but not so much for actual carpet. So I'm excited for those things to get here. and I am less excited to finally clean my apartment. I have been away and have so much random stuff that I was doing last week that I didn't have time to put all this stuff away, and I do need to do that because one of my friends is coming up this week from all the way from Cincinnati, and so I would like my apartment to at least look like I mostly know what I'm doing. So, I hope to see you guys in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this one, and you will forgive me for being a bad planner for last week. I really thought I would have more time than I did. As is often my mistake. I always think I'm going to have more time than I do. And I will see you guys in the next one. Scholastically Natalie is out.